All right, welcome back. Surface area of a pyramid today. So continuing on in 8.7. For the formula we're going to use for this one, we'll break it down, we'll write it out, and then I'll break it down a little bit so you can know what exactly each part is. So it's S for surface area, because we're finding surface area, equals S squared, so a small s, plus 4 times 1/2 base times height. So the reason it's that way, if we break it down, it's the area of the square because the bottom is a square. So the area of a square is S squared, side times side. And since it's a square, they're always the same. That's why we can just say squared. 6 times 6 in this one. And then 4 times the area of a triangular face, because in a pyramid there's 4 triangles here around there. So we're going to have 4 of them, and one triangle would be the formula of 1/2 base times height. So that's our surface area of a pyramid formula. So using it, so S for a big S equals a little s squared plus 4 times 1/2 base times height. So we'll fill in what we know. The square is 6 squared plus 4 times, and for our triangle we have a base of 6, so 1/2 times my 6 times a height of 5. So then you would just plug all those numbers right into your calculator. Make sure you're pushing the right buttons. Make sure you're putting parentheses in where you need to make sure you get the right answer. So 6 times 6 gives me 36 plus 4 times, so we'll do the inside of the parentheses there, 0.5 times 6 times 5 gives me 15 there. So order of operations tells me I need to do my multiplication first. So 15 times 4 gives me 60. Then I add my 36, gives me 96. So I'd have 96 in its surface area, so feet squared because it's area. So that's surface area of a pyramid. Remember to make sure that you're using all of these parts. This S squared, don't forget to multiply the number times itself. So 6 times 6, not 6 times 2. And then when you do your triangles, a triangle, remember that is 1/2 times the base times the height. All right, so then we move on to what we call a cylinder. So we're going to use this new cool thing. You may have heard it before, but pi. I think we've actually talked about it a little bit in class before, not anything that we've used, but this little symbol here is pi, and your calculators have a pi button on them. You can use that, but we can also just plug in 3.14, and that's the number I'll be writing when I do that. So that's how we find the area, or that's the number we use to help us find the area of a circle. For the formula, we would have S, a big S, equals h for height times 2 times pi times r plus 2 times pi r squared. So breaking that down a little bit, our first part, this first section, height times 2 pi r, is the area of the curved surface. I'll explain how I get that in a second. And then the second part, 2 pi r, is 2 times the area of each base. So in other words, the top circle and the bottom circle. And the first part is the area of this whole wrapped around piece. I like to think of it as if I were to take a scissors and cut straight down one side of this and cut all the way around the top and cut all the way around the bottom, I would have 2 circles, and then I would have this rectangular piece. And the reason that we use this 2 pi r here is because that tells us the distance all the way around one of the circles. And the distance around the circle is going to be the same distance that that whole unrolled piece is here for our rectangle. And we know the height of our rectangle. So the height of our rectangle here is 5. So to find the top, we would take 2 pi r. So we know our distance is 2 there. So we'll plug in all our numbers here. So we have a s equals h times 2 pi r plus 2 times pi r squared. All right, so h is our 5 here. So 5 times 2 pi r, and our r in this case is our 2 feet, plus 2 times pi, and again r is 2 and squared. We'll plug all those numbers into your calculator. So our first parentheses here are 2 times pi times 2 equals 12.56. We still have our times 5 out there. 2 times, and we've got our pi, so we'll do 3.14 times 2 squared. Gives me, interestingly enough, 12.56. Those won't always be the same. That just happened for this problem. And now we do our multiplication. The left side would be 25.12. The right side, we would do our 12.56 times 5, and we'd have 62.8. And then we'd add those together to get a total of 87.92, and it's feet squared because we are doing surface area. You really need to slow down when you do these. You really need to take your time, really thinking about each piece when you're doing surface area of a cylinder or surface area of a pyramid, because there's so many pieces. Please let me know if you have any questions.